Welcome to the Know Like Trust podcast, brought to you by the Know Like Trust report, which is a simple, actionable report that asks the most important questions. And visitors and viewers of the podcast get a promo code to get Know Like Trust report 20% off, and the promo code is WYEN 2025. And I'll also put it at the bottom so everybody knows that. So today our guest is Ahmad Jan, and I really love his LinkedIn bio. It says empowering businesses to create powerful brands through creative strategies that inspire growth, brand identity, and he's also a UI UX designer. So I'm sure that feedback comes into play a lot in your business. So before we get started, I would just like to ask you to share with us one thing that will help people get to know you, like you, and trust you.
Thank you, Teresa, and I'm very glad to be with you in this podcast. And thank you for the nice introduction, by the way. And one thing that I would like to tell me about myself is that I am working on brand identities. What we call brand identities is like we have our own identity with the personality, like we grow together. So brands and businesses also grow together when they age and get to known by the people the way they want to tell the people to perceive them. Keeping it
Oh,
simple is just kind of an identity that we build for ourselves by the time. So the brands also need the establishment of that identity.
nice. Okay, that's cool. All right. And so, what will help people get to like you?
What will help people to like me? I believe that I'm confident about my work, and also, they can go to my profile, see how kind of brand identity work we have already delivered, because I love my work, and that's why I like the people also identify, recognize me by my work.
Nice. Okay. All right, and let's go to trust, which I think those two things play into a bit together. When people see your work, they will definitely learn to, get to trust you when they see your work samples. So,
Mhm.
so that makes sense. And you also have people that work for you, right? You have a team of people, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So
Okay.
yes, regarding the trust, if we call, sometimes we have to believe in the process, and the trust part comes later. And that's something that I also practice a lot. I get the first step, take the leap of faith, and then on the way the trust part comes later. But definitely, as you say, the people can trust with the genuine and authenticity of what you share with the people. If you share value, people can relate it to it very quickly and naturally. So the trust to me is your natural representation of who you are.
Nice. So let's talk about feedback in what you do. So you empower businesses, and I'm going to go back to this because it was so great. Empower businesses to create powerful brands through creative strategies that inspire growth. So when you are working with a client, how important is feedback?
Yes, feedback is very important in every aspect of our lives, as well as when we work with the people. Because if somebody is coming to me with their project requirement and they don't come up with the right requirements, might be their first time working with the branding expert, or first time getting into the positioning their business as a brand, but they don't have a clear requirement. So we get to sort out things, our mood boards, our inspiration palettes, according to what limited information they have got, and then we create, come up together with things, and then we present it, the first initial draft, to the client. Sometimes the client give a very unexpected feedback, like with the least amount of information they have given, they are expecting a lot much more. But we say that, hold on, It's not the final thing that you're getting. It's just our, testing, or pointing out our first spear, that it, does it go to the right spot, and then the feedback process starts. And it starts. We talk to them, we ask questions, and the story gets cleared. Mood boards get defined. So here's how the feedback is very important in our industry. If the people who are working with us are not able to give a right feedback in the right way, they end up working with us. But if they are good, we convey them the message, we talk them, have meetings with them, so the thing moves on. So definitely there are kind of both kind of businesses and peoples in this domain. So as you might have also experienced with your clients as well, so people who have patience to accept the feedback and also give the feedback, that is actually we build up the business together. So we're looking for those kind of peoples.
Wow, that's really fun. I like that because I hear you saying that the feedback isn't just one way, right? They have to accept and give the feedback.
Yes.
And that's interesting because sometimes I will work with my clients for a really long time before they give me some chunk of information that I need.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you might not, if you're working with somebody for a short term, you might not get all of that information because they don't know to say it. They don't know what that is. I have had clients that told me later that they offered services that I was like, I didn't know you offered that service. I wish you would have told me that, a year ago.
Yeah.
So, but it is nice when, when you do finally get that feedback and you can keep moving with it. One thing I mentioned, you said a mood board.
Yes, yes, yes.
What
Before we
is a
get into that, I just wanted to touch up that last thing that we have
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
discussed
Yeah.
about. Yeah, about the people. I think the people, uh, if they don't understand a thing, they start hating it. That's what something I also have experienced, that those people who come with this thing, like they are not understanding the thing, they don't comprehend the whole concept, they end up actually with their frustration or anger. So I think we might to adjust according to the moods and also the swings accordingly. And there comes another part of the mood board. As designers and brand identity designers, we create a set of mood board, which we call references, inspirations, what kind of likings or competitors does the client's brand have, and how they are going to give a complete vision visually before it comes into being. Like this is the process by which we study client, we make a documentation in the Pinterest or maybe other platforms where we get inspiration from. It's just like the bee getting nectar from different flowers and then putting up together in the hive to create something beautiful. So this is the
That's really
nature we relate with most of the time, that it's all about the natural processes. We have to, while in the professional and creative industries, we look back and see that we relate to nature at any aspect of whoever wants to make a standing there. So this is how we work in the mood boards. Maybe I've conveyed the message of mood board to you. If you have any further question, you can put your feedback to me.
Well, that's really cool. At what point do you bring up the mood board? Is that something that happens from the beginning, from, as you start to work with a client, you introduce this mood board?
Let me tell you a recent experience I have with one of my client about the mood board.
Yeah.
He came up
Yeah,
with
do it.
he came up with a kind of mood board is AI generated, because you know that nowadays artificial intelligence and hype, there are some other platforms coming into the game. So he came up with the AI generated images, and I said, wait, let me wait walk you through what actually the inspirations is. I just picked him to Pinterest, and then we start writing minimal logos, a minimal beehive logo. His brand was, by the way, a bee product, honey product. So I started showing him to the kind of original work other than the AI, and he was just amazed that, oh, I'm getting on the I'm hitting on the wrong side. AI is just generating things out of the things that are already available, and mixing and blending. Right now, it's not so perfect. So we have to show them the right original content created by the people, and that is a benchmark from which we expect to start from. Like, here is, now we set the linings. This is not the AI, or the AI content is really blurred out and not very clear, rough idea. So we
Yeah.
made the vision more clear, and then this client was very amazed with the process, and I added him into the mood board, and he also start putting out what he likes, and I give the feedback. Okay, this work might work, this might not work, and then we have a sorted out funnel system where we get the best what we want.
I love that. That's really a lot of fun. You're talking about Pinterest too, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So do you use Pinterest for your mood board?
Yeah, there, as you see, like most of the designers and creative and also brands, they want to market their materials to every social media platforms, and Pinterest is the most used platform, whether it's come for a furniture reference, or whether it comes for a wall decor, room, or graphics. So I think there's a lot of other platforms like Dribble and Behance, but Pinterest is the collection of all of them. Like, everybody who's available on Dribble can be also integrated in the SEO of Pinterest, so you can find there, and then from there we can go directly to the Dribble board. But the Pinterest is the hub spot of every other creative platform
Wow.
merging into that Pinterest. So that's why I'm talking about Pinterest at the first
Yeah.
point, because it's a
Okay.
vast library of reference. We just don't go to Google Images directly. Mm, in the past, it was the pattern that designer went on the Google Images, but if you want to get something more according to your taste, and its algorithm is so strong that while you're searching for something minimal, it gives you the relevant minimal images at the same point. So your refinement of search also came in the process. So it learns you, its algorithm learns you so fast
Wow.
that you start creating pins in that. And why it is called Pinterest? Because you are able to create pins like what you did in the past of on the notice board. You pin something, so you have a board where you pin the relevant images
Right.
there. So
Yeah.
that's the whole concept of Pinterest.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so basically you use Pinterest as the mood board. Is that
Kind of getting inspirations and creating the boards out there. Then there come other softwares where we refine that mood board, or
okay?
define something. Those are other, FigJam, or even Adobe Illustrator. We use its artboard space to put the finalized contestants where we have to design
Yeah.
according
Okay.
and around that. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of like a vision board too, I'm
yeah,
hearing.
yeah,
Like a
yeah. You got it right.
That's so cool. I love the idea of spending a lot of time on a brand and really focusing on it and making it something that is is connects really well with
Yeah.
brand and taking that time. So that's really cool that you do that. You put all of that effort into the beginning so that
Mhm.
end is that really amazing thing. So that's really cool. Yeah. Well, thank you
Yes, yes,
for
yes.
the story. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Because people start, while there's a trend of e-commerce, and also people selling things online, and it's kind of normal now. But what don't people realize that they if they don't build a brand around their commerce or products, then they might sell to their customers one time, twice, but they can't be able to mark their identity that I use this brand particularly every time. So we need to connect emotionally, a storytelling way, to the customers and audience, so that they know that why I am, preferring this specific brand on on others players. So it's definitely very important to, get your branding done at the first place, spend some time registering your identity into the social media and also the retail side as well, then the people begin to trust, just like you, like know, like, trust. So it's a connection there. You are doing a complete branding trail, because first of all we need to let the people know. It's by awareness campaign, and then with the engagement campaign that we do with the social media as well, there is people engaging with your brand in the second tier, and then they trust, and beyond the trust, they don't see anywhere else. That's how the thing works.
Well, that's a really interesting parallel that the brand is the way you build the know, like, and trust. And that makes so much sense. And thinking about that from a consumer perspective is I really want to know, like, and trust the organization and the brand of, companies that I work with and that I consume their products. So
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. I really, really like that. That's very cool. And it's interesting too because the survey, the Know Like Trust survey, I mean, it really just asks those questions. It's just like, do you know me? Do you know what I do? Do you like me? Do you trust me? And I mean, ultimately, if you can get answers to those questions, then you're getting a lot of information that you need to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. Relating to this thing, what I also want to register here, like, now as I had already told you that I have other people by my side working. We also now starting jumping into the digital marketing and branding field. Like, branding was already there, now we dwell into the marketing as well. So
Okay.
what I see, how these things are closely related to each other. As I told you, whenever any customer may come, he starts focusing on the sales. While this might not be the core objective, first of all, you might need to aware the people around your design, your system, what you deliver, what the value you are going to add, what your products are going to deliver to them. It's about people, it's not about you or your business at the first point. So then you give the awareness, and then at the second stage, the people who are already aware, they know the product, they see something, okay, this brand is coming there. Now you have to engage them, like engage with the special offers, or show some creatives that people might relate to. Okay, yeah, I need this product, or yeah, this product might change something aspect of my life in some positive manner. So that's the engagement campaign, and then we go to sales at the last. So if this is all the strategy you follow in every domain or perspective of your businesses, your lifestyle, so I think you can make better decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. And it takes the pressure off of the sales part because if people are really stressed because they're not selling anything, then they get, just stressed out. But if you think more about the first two pieces and put your mind and effort into that, then the sales is just, you don't have to stress out about it so much. So, and
Yeah.
that process too, I think what's really nice is that if you need to make a change, you're basically using it as feedback, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we're doing this campaign and we realize this isn't working quite right. Let's go back and make a change to get this, to
Mm.
go. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to focus on those things first. And I really like the connection between branding and digital marketing. So yeah, so that's really
Yes.
cool. Really, that was great. Well, let's talk
Thank
a
you.
little bit about your your employees that work for you and how important feedback is in that situation. Because I know it's not easy to have people working for you and to be on the same page with you. So let's talk about that. How many people do you have working for you?
Right now we're a team of 8 people. Like, we work. Some are remote, some are also sitting in my office space.
Okay.
But what I feel personally, in order to lead the people, you might first go through all the processes. Like it's a natural process for everybody. Because if I might not, oh my God, it's making, you know, my camera does these things a lot. So no worries.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I was saying, that if you are going to, lead the people by example, sometimes you have to, take the wheel again, take the steering back, and then tell the people, okay, this is how it is done. Sometimes even now, when my designer feels stuck, I take the, system. I said, okay, let me tell you how the creative process works, how the logo design is there. And I start creating the logo, and I, after a few hours, when it is done, I tell them, okay, now you registered this thing, now you have learned, and now later on you will implement this, keep the record, and she's next time doing best. And same goes with the digital marketer. As of my personal experience, I was starting by a branding identity designer, but you have to foresee, overlook everything. And in that scenario, the digital marketing thing, I'm starting to learning out, and also, research back to back. And it seems they're just connecting the dots of the things. And while we study in branding, it's just practical implementation in the marketing. And the same goes with the SEO side, websites. I oversee everything. Like I know the tiny bits of everything, while the expert, he's there to do the all work. And you can't be expert of all the things, I believe, but definitely you must know how these things connect together to produce a collective result that works. Because nothing is individually making results, everything is, merged together and work together as a team. So in the team, there should be a bonding power. Just like I've told you, these services are closely related. So people are also, have to be just human to human interaction.
Nice.
uh, as strong as this human connection becomes, there are some days where employees don't feel like working. They are asking for early, offs, and I respect that. Okay, that's something I also sometimes felt like, I don't want to go today. And might be in my time there was a strict employee, so yeah, I didn't ask for those offs. But now I feel that was my vision also. When I was going through struggling phase, I walked on my bike through on my roads, and I started that I will make a company where things will be easier for people. But yeah, the rules are in place, but the human needs should be respected first when it comes, so that there would be people who would like to join me. They will like to work by their heart, not by just killing time. So this is how I'm envisioning, and I believe that you might also have something to input there. I would like to hear from you as well. What is your perspective in this point?
Wow, that's crazy. I never had an employer who felt that way. I never had an employer who felt like it was important to to give me my time and
Mm,
to to treat us like human beings. It's
mm,
so simple, but I never experienced it. So that's why I had to go out on my own because I never experienced that. So I would have loved to have you as an employer.
and I am feeling that, you, when you are employing other, people, you will take care of these things. Because the person who is, not getting those things is the one who try to gives it to the other people, because he said that, okay, this happened to me, but I'm not letting it happen to the other people who are under my umbrella.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be very good at it, honestly. I don't know.
You will be.
Uh,
I sense it.
yeah, that's funny. And I remember last time you also, well, as we were talking before, you had mentioned that you want to know what's in your employee's heart. And that was really cool for me to hear that you realize that they have a heart and that they have something in their heart. And that was really impactful for me to hear you say that, because I just think that's a really wonderful thing, that you want their feedback. You want their personal feedback, and that's important to you for them to work well with you. So, yeah, so I thought that was really amazing. And I've never had an employer who wanted to know what was in my heart. I love process improvement. It's been a part of me for so long. When I was in college, I took a logistics class. And in the class, they talked about Lean Six Sigma. Are you familiar with Six Sigma?
Oh.
So, Six Sigma is a process that that takes out a lot of unneeded processes. It makes you more efficient. And
Mhm.
it's called Lean and Six Sigma. So I'm
Mhm.
sitting in this class and they're talking about this, and I was just like, that's what I want. I was like, I want to do that. And they were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, we don't teach that here. You have to go
Mhm.
somewhere else for that." I was at a college. I was at a huge university, and they were like,
Mhm.
"We don't teach that here." So years later, I was able to get in touch with a Lean Six Sigma master black belt, and
Mhm.
I got certified for Lean and Six Sigma. And
Mhm.
and I also, okay, so I started working in all these places that were a mess. I worked at restaurants that were a mess. I worked at a pharmacy. I was a pharmacy tech, and it was a mess. And I walked in and said, "Hey, I know that this could be better. I know that it could be pretty easily fixed, like all of these problems." And this was in
Mhm.
my, like, these things were in my heart, because I'm kind of, what's the word? I'm kind of programmed like that, to
Yeah.
listen to customers and to make sure the customer is happy. And these people, they didn't care. And I said, so then when I put in my transfer request to go to a different building, they were like, "No, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to move." And I said, "Fine, then I'm quitting." I was like, "I quit."
Yeah.
And they said, I said, "Don't you want to know why I'm quitting?" And they were like, "No, we don't have time." Yeah, didn't want to know what was in my heart, and didn't care. And that has been a lot of my career. They were like,
Mhm.
"No, we don't care." And it was something really important. It was something about how they were treating customers, and the process, and how slow it was, and how messed up and like unorganized it was. And they didn't care. They were like, "Nope, we don't want to know. We don't care." So I quit. So I just left. So yeah, so
First of
crazy.
all, it's literally giving me, a backlash of what happened to me as well in many of the places. And I
Yeah.
personally tag you. You are also a sensitive person, because sensitivity is the nature that closely relates with empathy. And as a human,
Yes. Yeah.
we definitely empathize with each other. If you might also, I told you in the last meeting as well, that people you know can forget what you have said to them, but they can never forget how you made feel them, like how you made to actually feel them. So it happened to me as well. I also just put a quick resign there, standing there, like I was talking to my employer there. Okay, I need to learn, because I was working on a chat support email support representative back in Uber. There were some campaigns there. So I said that, okay, I'm not comfortable working in these shifts, because I want to learn another skill. And by the time, there was a graphic design skill when I was working at the job, and also wanted to learn new thing, new skill that I was inclined towards. But he said he didn't care, just like you said. He said, okay, we're not able to adjust the timing. While I was seeing, there were other people getting some references, or they were getting that flexibilities. But the employer was kind of like, why he's just coming to me? Because as I was supposed to go to him, he was a leader there. He should have listened to me. Okay, if your problem is genuine, you can the documents, you can change the timing. If it suits you, want to learn new skills, I'm here to help you. But he was not of that kind. He was not empathizing towards me. Then I said there was another friend of mine whose study just completed and he was going abroad. He went there for resign, and I didn't even knew how to resign at that point. I said, okay, give me your paper, and I printed it, copied it, and signature, and I just put the resign there. And after that, I was not having any other job there, and all my friends, when I came back to my hostel, they were saying, okay, what did you just give up your only job? You're out of your city, you're out of your town. Now you're going to be facing a very really bad time. And that happened. There was a quick paced decision, but then I realized, okay, that is my decision. All the plus and minuses are going to be on my own. I will take it, embrace it, and now let's apply for another company. So I did the same thing. And you know
Wow.
what? I left that job at 25 at that time. Like it was 25K, it was paying me. And the next job I was getting was 50K. It was like a double jump. I,
Wow.
literally had a few, like 1 or 2 months of tough time, but then I get, a better place. And I said, that, okay, the people who are not living are still there. And by the way, before that 25 one, I had a 16K job. So within the short time of about 6 months, I made some drastic improvements while my other friend was still sitting at the same job and pays that didn't even bother to change them because they were comfortable. They are just like those people who
Wow.
have adjusted to the environment. So I definitely say risk is a very important. And right now these all things are coming from my inside, like from my heart. I told you that something that comes from heart is directly touching the other heart as well. So
Wow.
I'm just saying, telling people risk is very important. If you don't risk for the things, you don't know how uh, potentially capable you are. The only way to keep learn about your limits is to keep testing them.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, and you had said empathy. I am an empath, and I did not learn what an empath was until much later in my life. So I didn't realize that there were some people who didn't do that. I just figured everybody did it. But yeah, I am definitely sensitive, and I am an empath, and it helps me a lot with what I do because it, like I will observe things, and it might even come to me later what's going on, but
Mm.
usually it will come to me where it's like, oh, I see what they're saying now.
Mm.
Whatever it was, I'll go back and be like, okay, wait, I get it now. I get what's going on.
Mm.
Yeah, so that empathy and being an empath, it does make a big difference. Probably why I started Know Like Trust,
Yeah,
because it's definitely a very empathic thing to help people understand these things. It's very empathic. Some people are like, why does it even matter? I don't even care. And it's just like, yeah, but you are connecting with other people. We don't live on an island by ourselves,
yeah,
right? If we lived on an island by ourselves, it wouldn't make a difference. But we live on an island with other people. So
yeah.
on a lot of islands with other people. So
Yeah, and the only drawback I would say in this sensitivity is that those sensitive people go into the depression most often. It's a part, but it's just a dark phase coming. Then when the night is too dark, then the sun is about to rise. So I said that's also a phase you might also have experienced. The depression is a kind of waving thing in the sensitive peoples. It comes and goes, but it's a good
yeah,
thing. You grow by the process.
but I don't know. That's really interesting. I don't know if maybe it's not being an empath that could create that depression. That's a really interesting thing because I think the people that I know who are a little like are more depressed are not empaths. You
Yeah.
know, it's like they're lacking that connection with other people and that drive. And it's like there's something missing, maybe. So I've never thought about that before. But but quite possibly it's the people that aren't empathizing because so what I have noticed, we had a friend who was not doing great, and that friend, I was worried about him because he was a friend of my son's, and I was really worried. He got a cat, and in getting the cat, he had to he had to take care of someone else. And when you take care of someone else, you don't have time to be sad about what's going on in your life. You're like, hey, there's something that needs me, and I got to be there for that. And I that is amazing that he did that. He got a cat. I was like, what a cool thing to do. It took all of the depression away. It took away this poor me. What about me? What's going on with me? Why am I me? And it put
Yeah.
his energy toward this other thing. And I've heard that, I've heard other people say, like there was a guy on a TED Talk that was depressed, and he's like, I was in my basement, didn't really connect with anybody. He started doing TED Talks about depression. And I was like, that's amazing. I was like, you've you fixed it by saying, hey, look, people need to know what's going on and we need to tell people. And that's being an empath. So I feel do something bigger than you. When you're depressed about, find something bigger than you.
Yeah.
And you won't focus so much on that depression, on like, oh, poor me, what's going on with me? I'm so sad. Do something bigger. Do something bigger than you. So I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or doctor
Yeah.
or anything like that. I don't know. I'm not,
Yeah.
there's my disclaimer, but is
Disclaimer. Yeah, disclaimer is important. But yeah, it was just sharing our thoughts. The conversation is
yeah,
driving there. So definitely, I also would like to add those people who are more selfless, and those are more empathizing. And those people, the other trait is you well known, the selfish. They just think about themselves all the day, not thinking about the people, not thinking about, okay, let me do something to suppress this poverty, and people are in bad conditions around them. Let's do something for just a few people around you, or if you are able to change the people of even one person, I think that might be a fulfilling feeling from your inside, like, okay, now I'm responsible for him, just like the cat thing that you told. Because the more people are dependent on you, and the more people are looking forward to you, okay, he's going to do something, you have a more responsibility, and you have a more thirst of moving forward. Otherwise, there are times when you can't even get out of your bed because you don't have a purpose. So those purposes are set around if we take the responsibility of other people with us as well. So this is kind of a whole positioning we must set up for ourselves, and have a just vision about ourselves, because at the end of the day, nobody is going to stay on this world for all the time. So
that's true.
nobody has came up with an infinite time. So with this
Yeah.
finite time and opportunity, I think we might definitely pick ourselves to the best possible being of ourselves, and in the process we grow, we learn a lot. If I see back to like 5 years ago, maybe I would be the person who might be the most selfish on the planet. But with the evolutionary process and the things, when empathy grows, because everything takes time, and if you give the due time and diligence, you change, your personality also shifts.
Mhm. That's really nice. Yeah, you had said the best possible being of ourself. Yeah. So, and I would never tell anybody like you're not good enough or you need to change. I wouldn't say that at all. But what's interesting is if you think about how long we're on the planet, if we never change, then that's a long time, to not even
Yeah.
that's a long time. So being open to being the best possible version of yourself, that's really different than saying, oh, you have to change. Like, no, you don't have to change. We just want you to be the best possible version of you, and I think there's a huge difference. And, I have seen people do that, and it's really cool. I have, like, my son, he actually had, oops, I just threw my pen. He actually had concussions in high school, and that was really, really hard. And nobody really knows what happens to your brain when you get all those concussions. And
Mm-hmm.
he's had to really work on being this best version of himself, because, like, when your brain is stuffed up like that, like it was, he just wanted to sleep all the time. He was like, I'm tired. And it was really just the concussions that were creating the flow was slow, like the pulse in his brain was just slow. So he's really had to work through it and fight it. And I mean, right now he's out of his job and he's doing a great job. And he actually owns a facility. He owns a 3-unit apartment building. So he's
Wow.
renting this apartment building. Yeah. And so he's fixing it up. And real estate is harder than people think it is.
Yeah. 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 It is. It
But
is definitely.
he really had to work on it, kind of fight the tiredness and the grogginess, but I'm really proud of him for doing that. So, and
How did you helped him out of that situation? Because I know as a mother, uh, you would be the only close person sitting by him
yeah,
when he is going through that tough time. So how would you uplift him in that
yeah,
situation?
that's true. Yeah. Well, one thing is, like, with his apartment, I as much as I can, I try to go and help him, because I know having an apartment, a lot of times you need four hands to do stuff. And so I'm not there enough, but I have said, "Hey, I'm getting there, and we're gonna do these projects," because I know it's easier with two people than it is with one person. And I love that he did it. I love that he has this property and that he's fixing it up. Um and one time we had to get an old oven out, and I have a bigger car than he has. So I went and got the old oven and I took it to the dump, and I got him a new oven, like, took the oven over. And I love buying stuff used. Like, I love consignment. We found it, somebody was like a gently used oven, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get it for you and we're gonna install it. And so yeah, I'm really trying to be helpful, because real estate is hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But
It's
also,
again.
he
Yes. Yes.
he we found for him a couple of things. And I was, oh, cranial. It's called cranial sacral therapy, and it's a very gentle massage that, like, massages the little pulse in your brain.
Mhm.
And it's supposed to help relieve those places where the concussion has smushed, like your little vessels. So I've taken him to a couple things like that to help him with his brain, and he has mentioned that it has helped a lot to fight the things that the concussions are causing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I
I would
think
say,
that the person who is going through a specific situation, sometimes he is the only one who figures it out by the time. And I personally experienced this thing sometime back in when I was, got some sick. So I tried changing the diets, I tried changing everything, but didn't work out. But then when I tried to control my thoughts, I'm not, again, a disclaimer there, not a doctorly advice, but definitely I believe that it is your mind where everything creates. Nowadays, people are also working on the stress levels and also how our thoughts can impact our well-being. So I personally
yeah,
believe that now I eat everything how I want to, like I don't care too much about the things, okay, I have to pick this or not. But definitely what it changed is just my thinking, okay, that's true, it's nature will sort out everything by itself. And you just have to be continue move a working operation in the part of this machinery, the all around nature, and then things will sort out step by step. And yeah, it is something, the fear, the fear of losing, the fear of anything. It's the, I think, kind of emotion that you have to deal with very carefully, not to be too careless, not to be too much fearful that you lose, yourself in the process. So I think there are very critical balance, which again you learn by the time and experience. But I think that you need to have a consultancy on how to overcome the fears, or to overcome, your capacity. You do not know even about yourself. You have to talk to maybe somebody who knows it better than you. So I think those things are all in place. And our conversation is right now more moved towards the psychology and things. But let's realign and reframe. I like this conversation, but I think the audience might might feel it a little, going on the other side where we are not experts at. But I
Yeah.
really like talking with you
Yeah,
about
thank
this.
you. Thank you, Ahmad. Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much. I loved there were several things that you said. Oh, you had said basically know like trust is your brand. So that was really cool. I love that. And and how you build your brand creates know like and trust. Oh, and you talked about the leap of faith. That was really awesome that sometimes you might not have the know like and trust all together, but you might have to take a little leap of faith. So yeah, it was really good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, you talked about nature. Oh my gosh, that was really cool. How so many things are like nature. Like, so much of what we do is kind of a reflection of nature. So yeah, that was really cool too. Back in the
I would definitely in the end would like to listen about your vision about no like trust. Like I see that you invite people, and I just approached you like, just okay, I want to have a podcast, and you were very kind enough to make some times with me, and we have a couple of rescheduling, but it worked out eventually.
yeah.
So what is your actually vision behind, like, people from different cultures coming up, putting themselves, and what is your basically purpose in all of, or maybe what was the trigger behind you starting this thing?
Oh yeah. It was weird that people were saying, well, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but who's going to tell you that? Nobody's just going to come up and tell you if they know you, like, and trust you. So, I mean,
Yes.
unless you know them, or unless there's like a mentoring, kind of a thing. So basically, what Know Like Trust does, the survey, it asks those questions. Do you know me? Do you know what I do? Do you like me? Do you trust me? And it's very short and concise. So, and the idea is to help people to understand more their Know Like Trust score in a way where they're getting it from their peers, they're getting it from the people that matter the most, the people around them. And
Mhm.
I've never seen a Know Like Trust score come back with like horrible things, like you're a jerk or I hate you. I've never seen anything like that. It only has ever come back with very positive things that people don't take time to say to people. So, I mean, usually it makes like the little hairs stand up on my arm when I read, the comments. Uh, because I mean, even with my report, there were things people said that I was like, wow, I can use this. This is awesome. This is great feedback. So,
Mhm.
give people a moment to share those things that we don't take all the time.
Mhm.
And it's confidential and anonymous. So if
Mhm.
I want to share something with someone, but I don't want them to know my name, you could share
Mhm.
it with them and they would never know who did it. It would just be feedback from someone.
Mhm.
So, like you're always late to the party, or you put too much emphasis on sales, like you're only here to sell stuff. You're not here to get to know us, something like that, that would be really important for somebody to know. So,
Mhm.
and there are those things out there. They're called the 360 review. Are you familiar with 360 review?
No. I knew Trustpilot. Is it something like that?
No. Well, no, because 360 review is just it's an email that you get that has all these questions on it, and
Hmm.
it goes out to everybody, clients, it goes out to people in your organization, so your colleagues, your bosses, your managers, supervisors, clients, and then it asks these questions. Well, the questions are weird. They're not anything anybody could do anything with. It's like if you were an appliance, what appliance would you be? I mean, do I care? I, all I want to know is, do you like me? Do you trust me? Do you know me? That's all I want to know. So basically, I created no like trust to get right to the point of, am I likable? Am I knowable? Am I trustable? And that's no like trust. So I will give you a survey for being on the show. I'm going to give you a survey so you can see it and check it out and see if you like it. And then
Hmm.
also, if you encourage other people to use it, that would be amazing. I can give you a promo code. If you say, "Hey, this would be really great for you. You should do this no like trust report," then I will, I'll give you a promo code, and then I'll know that you referred somebody. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
win-win.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
I would definitely do something to help you and give a shout out to what you good work you are doing. So
yeah,
definitely, I'm gonna share it on my wall as well, and also trying to every possible way to let
great.
other people know about that as well.
Great. Yeah, and we talked a little bit about frequencies. I think even from a really far away, from many time zones away, we have a great frequency.
Yeah,
We each other really well, so that's really cool that I feel like I have better frequency with people in other countries than in my own country sometimes.
really. I
Yeah.
think the people in your country might be very busy in, not connecting to the right spot. Their
Yeah.
frequency is divided, so might be
Yeah.
they are onto other things. But it's
Yeah.
great to know that like we have a good frequency, and definitely I also felt that in order to speak, there is there should be a sufficient room for listening. Like if you are not listening to the person who's talking to, then you are not internally, your inner self is not endorsing you to speak. Because if you have the patience and acceptance of listening to what other people are saying, then only you have a courage to speak. Okay, I have listened to them, now it's my turn to speak. And other person, if he is all good and also synchronized with you, he also respects that the same way.
Wow. That's really cool. I love that. Because sometimes I feel like when I'm talking to someone, it's a monologue. And the
Hmm.
other person just keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And it's like I just let him go. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. You can keep talking. But that's interesting because they didn't there wasn't that moment where they listened enough to talk. They just started talking. And
Yes.
sometimes people they need to vent. So I'm like, that's cool, you can vent, cool. But I love that because it's really like what you say at that point is much more meaningful. When you've listened and heard the other person, truly heard them, then what you're gonna say is much more meaningful, if that makes sense.
It's really definitely a very good experience talking with you. And if I tell you it would be my first podcast, and it might be amazed for you offshore, but definitely there were other podcasts that we did locally, but it was
Oh,
my
okay.
first experience. And now I say that if I find more people like you, definitely it will be a great experience to talk and share thoughts, and have a just couple of minutes to tell and hear what other people want to say, how the different cultures behave. But as
Right.
of the crux of this meeting, I could definitely say that the people sitting offshores, there might be good and bad people everywhere, but the most majority, you get what you look for. Like
Yeah.
If I'm looking for something that is, meaningful, I will get those meaningful connections. And if you are looking, you don't believe in the process, you don't believe in the, you know your frequencies or whatever you call it, then you're not going to have the people in your network that give any meaning to you. And it's
Yeah.
not every time monetary benefits. Sometimes you get emotional support, you get a boost. Okay, he's struggling, he's also going through this thing, and he have this mindset, so let's shift my mindset and more input out the bad things and introduce some good things into my system. Maybe I perform better.
Yeah, I love that. That makes a lot of sense. And I have been embracing that a lot more, just putting out in the universe what I'm looking for. So, actually, that's a really great way to end the podcast is on that note.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Ahmad, and we will do this again. And
Yes, yes, yes.
I really appreciate you. I love all of your insights into feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.